Welcome to today's show, brought to you with the support of Mediaproxy. Now, you may have come across the term channel in the box before, but what is it in 2021? Has it evolved, and what challenges do playout platforms face?
Today, we're welcoming Ben Gunkel from Playbox Technology into the studio. Hi, Ben. Nice to see you after this whirlwind 2020. So what's the playout looking like? What's the playout world looking like in 2021?
Well, last year, what could be said about 2020 that hasn't already been said all over the world, the news, the internet, everywhere you look, people talk about what's going on at the moment. But unbelievably, Playbox and the channel in the box industry has seen a big boost in interest from broadcasters all across the world, people wanting to upgrade their current equipment. And it's not just traditional playout either. Look at the need for cloud-based and hybrid cloud playout solutions now. There's still the question, how do I get programs out? How do I get things from A to B in a cost-effective way? We don't seem to think that those goals have changed, really. And obviously with streaming being so prominent, it's had a big impact with startup broadcasters and really given people, I've always said Playbox empowers people and enables them to do things that they traditionally would never have been able to do. And there are a lot of individuals with content, and they're constantly looking for ways to deliver that content and get it out in a professional manner. Even with big broadcasters now looking to get content out onto platforms like YouTube and Twitch, which is obviously, these platforms generate enormous audiences in the millions if you get it right. But something we've been doing for about 13 years now, remote playout has really, really taken off because of lockdowns. People just can't get out. So remote playout is going very well. We've seen a huge surge in business. And we're just starting out. Where are we now? End of January, and things are looking good. Let's see what the rest of 2021 looks like. At the moment, it's systems go.
So you've touched on a few challenges there, Ben, but let's sort of drill down a little bit more into that. And what are the real challenges that smaller startup TV channels are going to be facing this year?
I think it's the changes in technology that are available at the moment. There are daily announcements. Technology is progressing very, very quickly, and people need to future-proof. And one of the things that that people have always needed to do is future-proof, but I think that these days that possibility's more realistic than ever before. Some of the challenges, people who are used to working in groups, working together, small TV channels especially, where people are in a tight-knit group, that you just can't do that anymore. So people businesses have found that they've had to very quickly adapt to remote setup. Look what we're doing now. We're in a virtual studio, but none of us are anywhere near each other. And there has to be, it's the reality of today. Speaking to your family, you have to do it on Zoom or whichever other platforms are available. But in the broadcast world, these small teams are finding out that it's actually very difficult to work together, and they've had to very quickly adapt like this to change their business model so they can continue without a hitch, really. But TV advertising rates have fallen. How do broadcasters diversify their revenue streams? That's the big question.
Well, that's interesting, because you mentioned one of the other things you mentioned early on was about lots of people starting up channels. Now, it's quite interesting that quite a few celebs, and perhaps now celebs, have started their own channels. Let's say the other social media types, YouTube, COVID, keeping fit, cookery, etc. What is the impact on the traditional broadcast, the ITVs, etc., in terms of ad revenue and content? How's that looking? Have you got any insight yet?
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people have popped up all over the place with TV channels. My wife likes to look at watching Joe Wicks. I'll assure you I'm not going to do live on this show what he did live on television. But, cooking, education, keep fit, I mean, I've got an amazing six pack. I'm great in the kitchen, and I'm more intelligent than I was before because I just, find myself personally watching these these new channels. So
BBC
yeah, that
Bite
is a,
Size is working for you. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But how do they impact on traditional channels? Okay, well, more people are at
Mm.
home. What do people do when they're at home? Everyone's got one of these. Well, not this model, but everyone's got a phone.
Yeah.
They're looking at social media. They're consuming content on demand more than they ever have before. I mentioned Joe Wick's workouts on Instagram.
Mm.
That's,
Yeah.
these are just examples of what's available, but there's a lot of new opportunities. Companies that have struggled, broadcasters that have struggled. How are they going to get their content out there, and using social media to increase their reach, diversify their markets is really the key. And I think the traditional channels are realizing that there's a real benefit to getting their content online using streaming services and social media platforms, especially.
So you've touched on how 2020 panned out, and what are your plans for 2021?
Well, I mean, it's going very well for us so far this year. Last year we had a difficult start. I think, like most businesses did, they weren't really sure what was going to happen. I rejoined Playbox personally in September 2020, so just after that first lockdown, before this second one, and my role really was to look at channel sales and how do we get product out into the market with the partnerships. So we're going to really focus on that. Our main focus for 2021 is finding good partners. Having worked for Playbox for 10 years, before I took a 2-year break, I think I learned a lot in that 2 years away working for another company about how to work with channels. And I think that we can do things a lot better. And we're trying to form some meaningful partnerships, not just people selling boxes, because that's anybody can do that really. It's more about partnerships and working with people who understand the market in the same way we do. And so we've reinvented a lot of the ways we work. People can buy products online. That's new. We've never done that before. More of these interactions. It's easy in these lockdowns to put your head in the sand and disappear and think, I'm not seeing people, so I don't need to communicate. But this is really important. Being able to carry on in a normal way, or so it seems. But we're trying to help our customers as well. When people buy a system, what do they do? Traditionally, you have somebody there to train you. What does any company do who has a product that needs hands-on training? It's just not possible to do it. So offering those systems online is absolutely vital. So from our experience, it's actually worked very well. If there are companies out there looking to see what Playbox is doing and wondering whether it's going to work for them, offering tools online is, by far and large, the best way to go. Tutorial videos, things like that.
You say reinventing yourself. You've got to think about as well, trade shows. 2020, 21. I mean, when are we going to be back? We've got to assume that we all want to be back. I want to go back. But engaging with Playbox, how are the customers, if they're trying to work it out, how are they engaging with you? Through the channels or direct, both?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, who doesn't love meeting up with their friends and people they've worked with for many years at a trade show and having a catch up with them, maybe having a beer? I mean, that's part of the enjoyment of working in broadcast. Is it's a very people-driven industry, and that's just being taken away from us. Trade shows, I mean, they're great. Trade shows are fantastic opportunity to show your products, meet lots of people in a short space of time. But the other side to that is they are very expensive. What's going to happen with them in the future? Who knows? I mean, even with vaccinations that are coming out, even if people can mingle, is it going to be limited by numbers? Is it still financially viable? Because it's not going to be cheaper to go out and exhibit in a foreign country. But you still got those costs And if you don't see the people see those revenues returning, then it could be a very expensive exercise. But there's been some great initiatives. Again, I keep saying this and love what you're doing. These interviews, these meetups, we usually do them at a trade show. You rock up with a microphone and a camera and talk to people on the spot.
Yeah.
But you've had to adapt and offer it online. And that's part of the relationships. I think if we've still got those relationships, then we can use them for online purposes.
Ben, we're running out of time, but just quickly before we let you go, can we seek some wisdom that you can leave us with, or a tip or a prediction, a thought for the rest of 2021?
I think, I think it's important that people consider what the future may look like if we have to continue living this way. And now may be a good opportunity for companies. Let's have a look at companies and individuals. Companies should change with the times. Look at technologies that are out there. Take advantage of remote, cloud, and all the other things that come with those technologies. But also on a personal level, the most important thing for all of us is just to make sure that we keep ourselves upbeat, keep ourselves positive, and stay safe.
Absolutely.
Couldn't agree more. So thanks for watching, and thanks Ben for coming on the show. To see all our video interviews and kit reviews, then head over to KitPlus.com, which is brought to you with the support of Mediaproxy, and you can find out more about them at Mediaproxy.com. Thanks again.